I am here at Kathmandu, the capital city of Nepal. So I put out a post on my Insta tonight and asked you guys what I should be doing here in Nepal and what sort of thing you'd like to see. An overwhelming majority of you want me to go to the world's most dangerous airport. So I'm going to do it. I've just booked a return flight to Lukla, which is about a 30-minute flight from here, on the side of a mountain. I'm going to be heading up there and spending a couple of days there and then flying back here to Kathmandu. Now, there have been 11 crashes here at Lukla in the last 20 odd years. That's what makes it the most dangerous airport to fly into, apparently, but there hasn't been a crash since April. So yeah, let's go and take the most dangerous flight in the world to the most dangerous airport in the world. Let's go. A big thanks to Pouch for sponsoring this video. More on how they can save you a fortune later in the video. Morning, hello.
I know, so you have to drop your okay?
Perfect.
Easy, no need to go. So,
I arrived at Kathmandu's domestic terminal early in the morning for my ride to Lukla. I was flying up to Lukla with Tara Air, one of 3 airlines that serve Lukla from Kathmandu. Along with the passengers, there were loads of supplies being checked in to be taken to the numerous camps up in the mountains. Hello, good morning. Namaste. Oh, thank you. Thank you. The usually chaotic domestic departure lounge at Kathmandu was unusually quiet at this time of the morning. So I'm here waiting to board the most dangerous flight in the world. I've got my boarding pass for a completely different flight to the one that I was actually booked on. I think that's just the way of things here. You just turn up and just hope for the best. So my flight leaves at 6:45 now instead of 6:15, which is what the original time was. So never mind. I wonder what aircraft we're going to get.
Namaste. Have a good flight. Thank you. Namaste.
The domestic terminal at Kathmandu is essentially just a bus station, and when you board you head outside to a bus that will take you down to the domestic ramp. This does give you a great chance to see the other aircraft on the ground though. All Nepali airlines are banned from flying in the EU on safety grounds. However, in my short time in Nepal, I found the airlines I flew on completely acceptable, with nothing at all standing out as any different to flying anywhere else in the world. The pilots are incredibly skilled and they do fly in some really challenging conditions. My ride up to Lukla today was this Viking Twin Otter, originally delivered new to Tara Air in 2015. Inside it's pretty Spartan indeed, but perfectly acceptable for the short ride up the mountain. Pretty soon we fired up the engines and made our way out to the runway at Kathmandu. Our route today took us east out of Kathmandu towards the mountainous terrain of eastern Nepal, before making an approach and landing into runway 06 at Lukla. Flight time today was 30 minutes at a cruising altitude of 13,000 feet. After a few minutes, the tallest peaks of the Himalayas began to appear on the horizon. The ground below us rose really quickly, and despite being at 13,000 feet, at some points we were just 1,000 feet above the ground. Eventually the town of Lukla appeared in the distance, a place I've seen so many times in photos and videos, and was finally seeing it in person. I soon got a glimpse of the runway at Lukla that's claimed so many victims in the past. It's just 518 metres or 1700 feet long. To put that into perspective, you could fit this runway onto the runway at London City 3 times. There's no option to go around at Lukla thanks to the mountain at the end of the runway, and usually in the morning aircraft land with a tailwind. Did I mention that the runway also has a 12-degree slope and a sheer drop off at the bottom? Touched down safely and taxied into the tiny apron at Lukla. The aircraft leaves one engine running as the passengers disembark and the next load come on board, before taxiing out and disappearing down the mountain for the flight back to Kathmandu.
Thank you. Namaste. Thank you.
Big thanks to Pouch for sponsoring this video. If you don't know what Pouch is, listen up, it's really simple. It's just a free browser extension that automatically finds and applies voucher codes for over 3,000 websites to save money on your online purchases. You don't have to do anything, just shop as you normally would and Pouch will do its thing, find your voucher code and save you money. In this example, you'd save over £44 booking a hotel. How easy is that? It's so easy to install too. All you have to do is click on the link in the description and install the plugin to your browser and let it work its magic. I tell you what, I'm going to walk from the airport terminal at Lukla to my hotel. Let's see if you can install the plugin before I get to the door of the hotel. How easy was that? Enjoy saving money on your travels or on loads more of your online purchases by using Pouch.
Check in for hotel?
Yeah.
My hotel for the night was the Buddha Lodge, right next door to the airport. So then, here at the Buddha Lodge in Nepal at Lukla Airport. I mean, you want to see how close this is to the airport? There's the apron right outside the window, so it's not far to walk at all. It's a little basic, I'll give it that. You can really see why this airport is regarded as one of the most dangerous in the world. Look at the length of that runway. It's so short, and once you've landed, on approach, you've kind of got this massive mountain behind you, so you're not going to be able to do a go around, you kind of get one shot only. And taking off isn't much easier. At the end of the runway, there's just a sheer cliff face, so if you're not fast enough, you're just going to run straight off the end. Pilots need a lot of training to be able to come and land here at Tenzing Hillary. Aside from Tara Air, Summit Air and SETA all operate flights to Lukla. All flights are scheduled between 6 and 9 AM when it's daylight, and the weather's at its clearest for the landing at Lukla, which is always done visually. Tenzing Hillary Airport was built in 1964 under the supervision of Sir Edmund Hillary, the first person to climb Everest, along with his Sherpa Tenzing Norgay, with whom the airport's named after today. The runway wasn't paved until 2001. Mountain weather means that the airport can often close without warning. There's been occasions where the weather's remained foggy for several days and people have got stranded at Lukla for up to a week on occasion when the weather's been bad. The town of Lukla is built almost entirely around the tourism from people on their way up to the mountains. The only way in or out of Lukla is by air or on foot, so the town is essentially the gateway to the mountains in the Khumbu region. Everest of course is the most famous, but most people come either to just trek in the mountains or go to the smaller peaks such as Nuptse and Lhotse. From Lukla it's a 2-day walk to the next town of Namche and a further 5 days to the base camp at Everest. In peak season of April to May, there's 40 landings or takeoffs a day here. Aside from the airliner traffic, the airport's served by many helicopters, taking people up to Everest or back down to Kathmandu. So I figured I'd come for a bit of a walk around Lukla Airport, all around the airport, in fact all around the town. It's just little footpaths everywhere, and you can see the runway. The runway's right there behind me. Touchdown point is kind of over there. The ground underfoot here is just so treacherous. There's rocks everywhere. I don't know how. You see these Sherpas piling up and down, carrying like really heavy loads. Just carrying on with it. I don't know how they don't get injured. Absolutely stunning, look at it. So there's the runway up there. And there's a drop off at the end. That's where they end up if they misjudge it. Eek. Maybe I shouldn't have come down here. I'm flying out of here in a couple of days. Every now and then you hear like a helicopter going over, taking up climbers or bringing them back from somewhere up in the Himalayas. So, wow, there's a plane just landing now. Let's go see if we can see it land. Let's watch the Let 410 take off of Summit Air. This place is cool. Another successful takeoff. Okay, so walking down to the bottom end of the runway maybe wasn't the brightest idea. Yeah, I'm certainly, you get so out of breath here, it's crazy. I've literally walked those buildings that you see just over there to here, up that hill. Not so far now. Whew. So back in my room at the wonderful Buddha Lodge. Am I selling it to you guys? It's absolutely blooming freezing here, honestly. Even the staff who work here are working in their coats with their hats on and things, like over a grill. It's like even they are wrapped up inside. There's no heating whatsoever in this hotel. Basic is the word, I think. There's no heating, there's no hot water, there's intermittent Wi-Fi, which isn't too bad, I guess. And the electric, though, keeps going out as well. Let's see, another thing here. But hey, I think it's cost me like $20 a night or something for this hotel, so it's not too expensive. I just know that I can't stay here more than one night because this is just, I've spent the entire afternoon wrapped up in duvets with my coat on in my room. Look at the colour of my hands. Blue from the cold. It's just crazy, absolutely crazy, but never mind. So tomorrow morning then, I've just changed my flight. I was going to spend 2 nights here, but I've decided to head back to Kathmandu a day early because I just can't deal with this cold in this hotel. So I'm going to be heading back in the morning with Summit Air on board a Let 410, hopefully. I've got the early flight out. So just 1 night here. Wrapped up nice and warm, hopefully, under these duvets. You can't expect too much, though, to be honest. I mean, remember, Lukla is a little tiny village perched up high in the Himalayas. There's no road access anywhere. The only way in and out is by plane. Really, you can't expect much, to be fair, so I shouldn't complain about it. And they do the best they can. Try and get wrapped up nice and warm and get some sleep. I'm dreading waking up in the morning and having to get out of bed in this ice-cold room, but hey, never mind. So I will speak to you in the morning. Good night. Well, good morning. It's now 6 a.m. and I've just got up. It is absolutely freezing. I woke up with my fingers. I couldn't feel my fingers, basically. My hand had been outside the bed overnight and I couldn't feel my fingers. Getting dressed reminded me of when I went camping years ago as a kid with scouts and stuff. It's just like a race to get dressed as quickly as you can before you get too cold. But never mind. I am off to warmer climes. I'm off to back down to Kathmandu now. It's 6 a.m. I'm going to head across the footpath, to call it that, to the terminal. And yeah, let's get Summit Air's Let 410 back down to Kathmandu. Let's do this. Right, goodbye, Butterlodge. Figure out how to get out now. Morning. Morning. The airport at Lukla was deserted at this time of the morning, and I had to wait for the staff to turn up before I could check in. Thank you. Once I'd checked in my bag, it had to be security checked at this counter before they took it to put it on a trolley. After I dropped my bag, it was time to go through the rather basic security check, which simply involved the guy just asking me if there was anything dodgy in my bag, before I walked through to the departure lounge.
Hello.
Namaste.
Namaste. Where are you from?
From England.
England, UK.
UK, yeah.
Okay. Have a good day.
Thank you, you too. Side at Lukla, well, there's just a small departure lounge with a tea stall. I did chuckle at the signpost for the VIP room and I opted to give it a miss. The sun started to rise, illuminating the snow-capped peak of Kongde Ri as the drone of a turboprop engine approached, and the first flight of the day landed at Lukla. A few minutes later, my ride back to Kathmandu arrived. It's a Let 410 originally delivered to Russian Pan Airlines in 2014. Since then, it's flown for Krasavia in Russia before being sold to Goma Airlines of Nepal, who changed their name to Summit Air back in 2018. I watched the Tara Air Twin Otter take her turn down the ski slope before realising it was my turn next. Slippy, thank you. As I gingerly walked out to the Let 410, I had to wait as they were still offloading cargo from the aircraft. The Let 410's used to bring supplies up the mountain, and the cabin's filled with boxes of fruit, vegetables and beer. It was soon time to climb on board and take my seat on the Let 410, which was actually the warmest I'd been in 2 days. Thank you. Hello, namaste. Thank you. We taxied out to the runway and lined up to take our ride down the side of the mountain, and I was surprised at how much I felt the hump on the runway. It really lifts you out of your seat. Our route back to Kathmandu today took us southwest out of Lukla and then towards Kathmandu, making a wide turn to the long final approach at Tribhuvan Airport. Flight time today was 43 minutes at a cruising altitude of 12,000 feet. As I flew over the beautiful scenery of eastern Nepal, I had time to reflect. You see, I expected this trip to be scary. It was, after all, the most dangerous airport in the world, statistically speaking at least. And yes, the airport does see its fair share of accidents, but consider, if you will, that this airport has up to 40 flights a day in peak season, and in the last 20 years there's been 11 accidents. Yes, that's high compared to some airports, but it's still incredibly low compared to the number of flights that it sees, and considering just how dangerous this airport is meant to be. For me, this was just another affirmation that flying is still incredibly safe, even at the world's most dangerous airport. I booked both of my flights separately online with Tara Air and Summit Air and paid a total of £281 or $365 US. This works out at a cost of 60 pence per mile. Compared to a long walk, I think this is a pretty good deal. Namaste, thank you. Thank you. Namaste. A chicken, please. Whoa, this is decent. Now this is a little bit better than the shack that I was staying in up in Lukla. A little bit more room, and look, we have something incredible that's even better than all of that. There's heating, and I'm not freezing. It's nice. It's comfortable. I've got a couple of nights here at this beautiful hotel. Look at the view out over Kathmandu. The other side you can see the stupa, and there's also like swimming pools and stuff there. There's a spa here. I've got a few days here now ahead of my flight home. I don't know what I'm going to do though. There are some other flights that I'd really like to do here in Kathmandu, so I'm not sure how I'm going to do them. Listen guys, let me know what you think to the flight up to Lukla. Is that something that you do? I mean, they call it the most dangerous airport in the world, but to be honest, I don't think it's that bad. Let me know what you think to this video, and let me know what you think to Lukla and Tara Air and Summit Air down in the comments. But in the meantime, as always, thank you so much for watching guys. Take care, and I'll see you next time.